Federal Foreign and Micronesian Affairs, Human and Natural Resources shall come to order. For the purposes of meeting the public open government law, notices of the hearing were sent to all media outlets and senators and various government agencies and stakeholders 5 days in advance of November 14, and a second notice was sent on November 18, 2013. And the main item up for discussion on this particular part of this morning's hearing is Bill 220-32, an act to require the Mayor's Council of Guam and the Guam Environmental Protection Agency to collaborate on development of an operational plan for the implementation of this act, and to appropriate $2 million from the Recycling Revolving Fund to the Mayor's Council of Guam for the purchase of heavy equipment to be utilized by the Mayor's Council of Guam for the collection and disposal of recyclable junk cars, green waste, and other debris. I'm pleased to have with us here Speaker Ben Pangilinan. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for joining us, as well as Senator Aileen Yamashita. And so Bill 220-32 was introduced to provide some much-needed resources to our mayors who are at the front lines of all activities involved at the village level. It requires that heavy equipment will be procured by the Guam Environmental Protection Agency, and the equipment will be available to each of our island's mayors on a rotational basis so that they can ensure that we all have a cleaner, greener Guam. And every mayor is proud of his or her village, and I know that they will do what it takes to make sure that they provide a safe and clean environment. And before purchasing this equipment, the bill requires the Mayor's Council and EPA to put together an operational plan for the use of the equipment, which includes dump trucks, backhoes and trailers, shredders and flatbeds, to quickly handle cleanup operations and keep our villages looking good. The plan will also be reviewed by the legislature, and EPA will handle the procurement, proper permitting, and regular maintenance. And so I'd like to recognize Mayor Robert Hoffman, who's here, as well as Conchita Taino from the Guam Environmental Protection Agency. Maybe we'll let the lady go first. Conchita?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman and honorable senators, for this opportunity to comment on Bill 220-32. At this time, Guam EPA is reviewing the bill and will be submitting written comments, its written testimony rather, within the timeline allotted. Thank you.
Okay. You understand, though, that that EPA plays a critical role by way of being a partner to the Municipal Council, Mayor's Council of Guam, and so that your involvement will be to assist in the procurement and the permitting of these kinds of machines and these activities.
Understood, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman. I believe Guam EPA has had a long-standing, good working relationship with the Mayor's Council of Guam. Right? I want to say yes, I'm the yes.
Yes.
Gotta be recorded, thank you.
TV, so away.
It's a good thing you're not under oath.
No, it is though.
You.
She's the one I always see. It's her and Sabrina I always go to.
See, and we're very cooperative, right?
Yes, yes.
Right, Mayor? Thanks.
And if EPA does handle the procurement of these equipment, you will listen to EPA, right?
Of course, actually, and that's the key part. Actually, the history of this is when you first gave us the opportunity, the mayors, the opportunity to do the recycling revolving fund and to have that ability to go into the villages. And we developed the plan. The first plan, we worked with a contractor, and we worked with several heavy equipment companies. By the time we were done with working them, we said to each other, we could have bought the equipment, you know. So I said, there, and we didn't even scratch the surface. So we're already in our third year implementation of the recycling revolving fund in the communities, and it's been a big help. We've removed quite a lot just from what we were able to get. You'll notice there's hardly any junk cars. A lot of people are doing it for free now, so we're removing tires, batteries, junk metal. Senahanya did it for 2 months, and I'm telling you, it was basically once one person hears about it, everything starts being brought out. And what we were able to achieve is we didn't have that situation in 2007 where it was announced and then everybody put it on their curbs and it stayed there in the junk piles, and you remember Cross Island Road was covered in metal waste. So as mayors, we were effectively able to get our residents sector by sector to put this out. So we're very proud of that. And we were just sitting down as mayors and saying, how can we continue to do this? Because what we're going on now as we look at the list is we have green waste, cardboards and everything. And most of our capacities of our trucks are very small. So if we can get a heavy equipment to go do rounds, pick up the cardboards, bring it to the processing sites, get the green waste, bring it to the processing sites, this is something we can do. Then we can continue to work on a regular basis, not just each village, because each village is allotted $25,000. I think $14,000 for white goods, $3,000 for tires, and then the remaining amount for whatever else that's in between. So now what this will do is eliminate that process and get us the equipment we're willing to do on the rotational basis. We've done it before. Right now, only 3 villages have heavy equipment. We're constantly borrowing between them and here and there. And it'll also help us clear up a lot of the areas which cause inclement weather, the flooding areas, the laying of coral, moving certain things. And we've been working with DPW and everything else. But what we notice is all the culverts when everybody cuts their grass, all the culverts get full, and we have to go down there with a shovel. And so it would be a lot easier to do this. And when we have to contract heavy equipment, it's really hard to find somebody who's willing to do it for the government, let alone who's available, because there's so many construction projects on Guam that that's why this past Typhoon Francisco and the heavy rains before, it was really hard to find heavy equipment. All the mayors were screaming and yelling, saying, we need something here, we need help here. And so it is a big help to us, and we hope we get EPA support and the legislature support in this. I think this is something that we do have certified operators within that are hired with us. I have quite a few. And so all the districts are this is what we're willing to help develop this plan, do the rotational basis, make it a lot easier to make it cleaner, greener, move on the list. We've pretty much eliminated all the junk cars. So now it's time to go to the other things that we have on that recycling revolving list, which was the inception between you, Tony Sanford, and then Senator Joanne Brown. So I think it's a great move. So we're looking forward to working with EPA and developing the plan of action to kind of get this and get it permitted. We actually got working with DPW to get journeyman certified classes for other things we need, just in case we need to get. So the Trades Academy is actually working with us to get our employees eligible for should there be other requirements from EPA about handling or crushing or processing. So we're very proud of that.
Yeah, and part of the bill, actually Section 3 of the bill, calls for within 120 days, calls for Mayor's Council of Guam and EPA to submit an operational plan within that 120 days, and that plan has to be adopted by resolution. Do you foresee any problems in doing this within 120 days? I'm sure you have the concept, because when you approached the legislature about this idea, there must have been some reason behind the $2 million number, and there must be some reason behind this whole effort.
Yes, we actually, in sitting down with the mayors, what was the equipment needs from whether it be heavy rain or just what we're spending on a regular basis from the recycling revolving fund. We were spending only $500,000, and I think the fund collects $2.5 million a year. And we were saying, okay, we want to move on further on the list. We want to get those other things. And we're seeing that by the receiver refusing to take cardboards, green waste, and all these things. We're literally stockpiling them here and there, and we're getting cited by EPA saying, or not cited, but warned by EPA, don't put this here. And I can tell you, every mayor has that. Every mayor has an area where we're doing these things, and we want to process it right. We do need more facilities that will process green waste. Right now, it's only in Jigo where we send it up there. Right, Jigo, right? I think Jigo. Green waste. Yeah, green waste. So imagine every single mayor has to drive to Jigo. So just take the drive, take the gas, take everything, where it's really not worth it on our time. So we kind of pilot till we get on. And then on top of that, we have rhinoceros beetle warnings that you can't keep coconut leaves with this and that. So we're trying our best on what we have. So we said, let's develop the plan. So yes, Senator, we can develop a plan within the 120 days to get on that further down the list, do the environmental studies that what else we need to do. And we have a lot of residents who could really benefit from us having this, because it would clear certain areas. When we removed tires in Barragata, as we removed portions of the jungle, we found 2,000 tires in a government property. There's no way to identify who owns the tires, but it was what we picked up, and we were able to process it, package it, bale it, and send it out. So we're very happy. We're hoping more companies. I understand there's interest for glass pulverizer now, or somebody who wants to buy some glass machine here. So it's actually now is the time. I think the technology has finally met up with what our needs are, iRecycle's been good. Peggy Denny's been advising us left and right. You see that we moved, we went to the green portion of the carnival, and we're doing that. We're recycling in our offices. We're doing it. We're helping our schools. We're even taking the food waste from the Manamco centers and giving it to our pig farmers. And so that's the area. That's kind of the natural progression of things. So we appreciate your support in this. So yes, we'll have it in 120 days.
Yeah, this committee's oversight is just with the recycling revolving fund, and I want to ask if this appropriation, if it was the will of the legislature and that this appropriation is realized, and you have this kind of operation, would it cause any impact in your operational expenses from the general fund for fiscal year 2015 and beyond?
I think just for fuel probably, but everything else is, we're already doing the work, we just don't have the right tools. And I think this gives us the proper tools to do the work. Imagine having to fill up a truck bed of tires. Imagine now filling it with a 14 cubic yard. It would be a lot easier to do that, and a lot easier. And I think that's something we're going to visit also, is trying to figure out a way that we can co-op as villages to get trash bins. So instead of paying a daily rate, every single village pays a daily rate for dumping up at the transfer station. We're thinking if we can do trash bins, do daily rates, and then charge it by the dump truck load versus the per truck load. We pay almost $180 per truck for trash. And this is not trash generated by our offices. This is trash we find on the sides of the roads, in the bus stops, in the jungles. So imagine every day we get one free trash, I think, load, and I think they're even frowning upon that. And then everything else we pick up. Most villages have village cleanups and stuff. We pay for that now. The receiver doesn't say, okay, we love you for cleaning up Guam or cleaning up Route 4 or Route 1. You got to pay. So
And you can use those funds to augment this operation.
Right here, because they go by per load. They don't go by per vehicle. So if it's per load, imagine 14 cubic yards of waste or recyclables is easier to drop off per load versus something small and getting charged $180 at a time. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, Speaker Ben?
The $180 per truckload doesn't sound right. I thought it's like $14 per truckload.
No.
For pickup truck?
For pickup truck,
$100 per
we pay, and if you go more than once in a day, it just keeps adding up, and it doubles, it triples. So villages with trailers are counted as one truckload. Villages with just without it is considered. So it doesn't matter what your cubic size is or your load, your capacity is. It's per vehicle they charge. So
$180.
I have the billing. Yeah, we spend now. Each district spends anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 on waste disposal per year.
Well, that doesn't sound right. $180 per truckload once a day. That sounds right.
This is above the free rate. So once the first free, then everything above that starts charging. Yeah.
But at $180 once a day, let's just say 5 days a week, that's $7,000.
Yeah,
$700.
we don't do trash every day now. We actually do it every other day or sometimes just twice a week. We actually skip days because it's too expensive for us. So we really try to keep the trash. As much as I want the trash gone in a day, it is costly. We do have the billings for it, and the receiver does bill. We don't have the fortune. We don't have, like we have Agate Transfer Station, Dental Transfer Station. We bring it up to Mr. Rubbishman. They weigh it. From the weighing, they do it per vehicle. They have the different formulas that they run, and then it's pulled up to this area, sorted out. So there is that was the biggest concern of the mayor's, was how much we pay the receiver or the trash for trash per ton.
One of the things I have is that it seems like we're duplicating now the recycling effort and the recycling program that's being implemented by the receiver, which is going to be rolled out on an island-wide basis, for all of this. And so we're now going to fund two different programs, and one by the tipping fee and one by an appropriation coming out of the legislature. So if the receiver is willing to do it for free, what's the advantage of providing another program via the mayor's office?
The receiver only does it for customers.
Yeah.
Only customers, and there's not every resident is a customer. You can easily drive on your trash day and see on your street how many people have trash bins. And because the rates are going high, we're losing trash bins, and people are now saying, I don't know, and so they're finding alternative ways. And that was the thing we asked. I said, how are you going to
So are we going to run a disposal
Not disposal, but this is for the recyclables.
Well, the recyclables, but it's still,
The receiver only picks up, when they first rolled it out, they had Senhania as a pilot project, you could only give 5 items per year.
no, that's the metallic waste.
Yeah. And then the
5
recyclable.
items every
yeah.
6 months.
And so that's
on a
what,
free pickup.
yeah, it's,
Yes.
so that was the 5 items. And then the cardboard and everything, they were collecting it, but they weren't really sorting it for the year that Senhania had it. And Peggy was furious about that, saying,
Well,
you're
this is
just
the new-
weighing it.
This is the new program.
The new
And they're
program,
going to
so they
collect it
said,
for free, and then
which is
they're
paper
building a
and,
$1 million recycling facility
Yeah.
that will sort it.
it's paper and aluminum though. They're not doing anything else. They're still not doing green waste. They're still not doing everything else that's on that list. So we're handling all that other things. It's the call your mayor. You have a problem, call your mayor. It's not call Bob Perron. It's not call the receiver. If you call the receiver to try to get, they're going to say, have you talked to your mayor? Have you figured out, or are you composting at home or doing all these other things? So they're going to ask all those other things on that. We're filling in that gap where it is the call your mayor because I have the green waste. I mean, even the legislature has a huge stockpile of green waste at the old legislature. And that's things that we can actually easily transport, heavy equipment, get it, send it to the processing sites, and have it mulched, have it sent to Dr. Galabi or wherever else that it needs to be. But that's, right now, the receiver is only servicing customers, and as it rates go up, they're gonna lose customers. It's almost a guarantee, and until they lower it, that's what we've been asking the federal courts and everything is, our people can't afford this anymore. $40-some every month is a luxury to them. And for those on fixed income with half the island on poverty,
Again, I go back, Robert, you're
Yeah.
talking about household waste in that situation. Are you going to then pick up household waste
No.
for people who are not customers of the solid waste division? That's what you're saying?
we're not gonna pick it up, but we still pick it up, Senator, on the sides of the roads, on the bus stops, in the community centers, on those areas. If we don't do it, nobody will.
But do we need a $2 million operation to do that?
It's not just for that specifically. It's actually going to entail, like I said, collection of the green waste, the cardboards. It's everything else that we have, the recyclables on the list. It's going to be I think majority is either be earth moving, clearing, finding, getting to those places in there is doing that. It's not going to be just it's not going to be Packer trucks or anything like that. I think we probably take one pickup load a week of illegal dumping. And when we had to clear up Chowett, we had 14 dump truck loads of illegal dumping that the people of Guam paid for. What would have cost them easier, what it is at $14 a pickup to take there, some of these landlords or whoever else decide, no, we'll just throw it and let the mayor end up absorbing it. So we're just trying to solve that, close that hole that's existing there. So it's not going to be a regular basis of,
But that's all going to be then in your
yeah, it'll be in
operation.
the operation plan.
Okay.
Okay. Secretary Machina?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Welcome, and it does sound like we should already have these kinds of issues resolved, and it sounds like maybe you already have been communicating with everybody involved in the tipping fees and the pickups and all of that. But certainly, many of us have noticed, and then it's just not the white trash and the green trash or green waste, but many of us have noticed the increase of everyday trash being piled up in the boonies or on the side roads. And so, and because you do take care of your villages, you're going to end up picking up that trash as well, right? I mean, I'm sure you already do it, right? So I do too wonder, how can we have that organization or that business or that whole plan that's already being paid to take care of the environment, to make sure they really do take care of the environment? Because now it sounds like you're going to supplement all of the work that those of us who are paying the $30, at least right now, right? And so, while I certainly support giving the mayors what they need to more efficiently do their job, because I know you do it, right? And you shouldn't be in pain doing your job. But when we're already investing in somebody to take care of it, I think maybe a part of the question is, I support this, but my bigger question now is, what are we doing to ensure that those people who are getting lots of money are actually taking care of the environment, right? So I guess that's another question. And again, I've always said I appreciate you doing the work that you do as first responders and keeping it clean. So Appreciate the conversation. It's been very good. Thank you, Senator.
you.
Thank you. You have a response before I recognize...
We're not looking for more work. The thing is just on that. We're just going to do what we can with the resources and the tools, and that's what you're going to be able to do. It's clean up those horror sites that you see when you see it on social media of Marble Cave and there's tons of trash there. It's going to cost somebody something, and by having that equipment, the versus privately renting it is, if we privately rent it, the minute the PO runs out, then it's done, and it's, we have to sit there and twiddle our thumbs and figure out how to do it. So you're giving us the tools, and that's what this is.
Thank you. Mayor June Blas.
Yes,
thank
good
you for
morning,
joining
half a
us.
day, Mayor, Senator Rory Respicio, Senator Ben Pangilinan, and Senator Arlene Yamashita. For the record, my name is June U. Blas, Mayor Paragata, and I'm here this morning in reference to the Bill 220-32. I do have copies of my testimonial, and Mr. Chairman and members of the Committee on Rules and Federal, Foreign and Micronesian Affairs, Human and Natural Resources, and Election Reform, buenas and half a day para todos hamzugin ini segundo mayor Zanguahu, como mayor Zan membro si Consolacion Municipal Barrigada. At the outset of the legislation would somewhat appropriate monies from the Recycling Revolving Fund to the Mayor's Council of Guam for the purchase of heavy equipment to be used for the collection of recyclable materials, junk cars, and debris cleanup after storms. Our other concerns are sections 2 and 3 regarding the proposed operation plan. Is this a joint operation plan, or is the Mayor's Council of Guam and the Guam EPA tasked to prepare their own separate operation plan? Therefore, we propose minor amendments to the sections 2 and 3 to read as follow. Section 2, MTOG and GEPA to prepare plan. The Mayor's Council of Guam shall work with the Guam Environmental Protection Agency to prepare a joint operational plan relative to the implementation of this act so that the Mayor's Council of Guam can have access to the needed heavy equipment required to clean roads, collect trash and waste, to remove junk cars and other debris on a regular basis, and provide other village service such equipment to make available for each mayor on a rotational basis. On Section 3, proposed operation plan, the Mayor's Council of Guam, together with GEPA Board of Directors, shall within 120 days of the date of enactment to the Act into law, submit to the Legislature Guahan via duly adopted resolution a proposed operational plan for the implementation of the provisions of this Act. While we support the intent, we note that Sections 4 provide the Mayor's Council of Guam and Guam EPA prepare and adopt an operational plan before the $2 million is appropriated from the Recycling Revolving Fund. Also, what happens when the legislature does not approve or accept the operation plan? A closer look of Section 4 reveals our concern. On Section 4 appropriation, upon approval and acceptance by the legislature of the proposed operational plan, what happens when the legislature does not approve or accept the operational plan? And secondly, what happens when the legislature amends the resolution adopted by the Mayor's Council of Guam and Guam EPA? The $2 million is hereby appropriated from the Recycling Fund for the procurement of heavy equipment for the Mayor's Council of Guam, to include but not limited to dump trucks, heavy equipment such as backhoes, trailers, shredders, and flatbeds for the use of various mayor's offices, for the collection and disposal of recyclable junk cars, green waste, and other debris. Concern again, we are purchasing equipment without warranty, or they allocating funds for the repair and maintenance of the equipment, or are they going to charge the respective mayor's office that last used the equipment, or are they doing a typical GovGuam purchase on a last used equipment, or are they doing no maintenance? What is DPW's role in this program? DPW has no role in the implementation of this act. They have no ownership. In the accordance with the approval operation plan called in Section 3, the Guam Environmental Protection Agency shall conduct and the procurement of heavy equipment funded by this act. Therefore, we propose an amendment to add a new Section 4 to provide the Department of Public Works shall be charged with the responsibility of maintaining the equipment purchased pursuant to this act. More importantly, the amendment stipulates that DPW shall be responsible for the maintenance, upkeep, and repair of the equipment, either directly or through the use of contracted vendors. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to provide comments on Bill 220 and 32. Mrs. Usmasi.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Before I respond to your questions, Mr. Sablan, did you have anything to add? Thank you for joining us.
Buenas and Jesus. Good morning. I'm Angel Sablan, Executive Director of the Mayor's Council of Guam. Just want to say at the outset that you see the Mayor's Council of Guam meeting in action here between the two mayors, one proposing and one questioning some of the items. I'm here basically to just say that I've been through this and I've seen what has happened with the Guam EPA and the MCOG working together in trying to rid the island in our Nakaskasi Guam, Iguahan program. Mayors time and again in every meeting, in fact, this issue is always on an unfinished business in our meetings because we're never finished. And although we get the money from EPA, we get $500,000 at a time. Our balance, I believe, at the present time is $8,000 out of this fund that EPA has given us. Much of that money that has been allocated to the Mayor's Council of Guam to do the collection of metals and junk and glass and batteries and tires around the island has been actually allocated to heavy equipment rental, simply because some of the collectors who process the recyclables do not have the means to go out to the villages to collect these items, so they ask the mayors, you bring it into us and we'll do it for you. There is one recycling company that does the whole gamut of going out to the village, bringing it over there, processing it, and shipping it off island. But for the other vendors, there is not. So we have to issue out purchase orders for heavy equipment. And then when that happens, there are 19 villages. And so they all try to fit into their schedule who's going to go first, who's going to get their tires collected first, who's going to get their junks collected first. We don't have much of a problem with abandoned vehicles anymore because we've told people, this is a way to make money. If you have abandoned vehicles in your yards, you take it to the recycling centers because they pay you for it. You get money out of batteries, tires, they pay you for these things. We shouldn't be the ones to bring it, but then there are places where it's no man's land. We have to do it, and there's still areas in Guam that happen. So this request for heavy equipment, and I'll also be very honest, this is not the only place we're requesting money for heavy equipment. You very well know that we're asking DPW to amend a recent law for flood mitigation to include the purchase of heavy equipment because we feel that having that heavy equipment would do more for flood mitigation than to work village by village on their 5 projects that will never get done and will never have enough money. This is another way of trying to get funds so that we can help EPA as we work together to clean up the island. There are still in Dededo, although it's very close to a recycling center, there are many areas in Dededo and Chamorro Land Trust properties that have, if there was a, God forbid, a typhoon and clean up this island, then we'll see where all this trash and junk cars and debris are at. But there are plenty areas on Guam. I think the argument between Mayor June Blas and the issue at hand here, the proposal is that she's worried about the maintenance of these vehicles and who's going to take care of them, because it's like she told me earlier, it's like buying a car and who's going to pay for the gas. I think in the proposal here, the fact that it says for other purposes also would allow us to include maintenance of these vehicles and to make sure that our operators in our various villages are all certified to operate these vehicles. And it's just any Tom, Dick, and Harry get on a backhoe and operate it, or a dump truck. They have to be certified. And many of the mayors actually right now are looking for employees or are hiring their maintenance people that are certified as heavy equipment operators, because they're looking forward to the day when they do have the equipment to be able to just not have to hire additional personnel or contract somebody else to operate this, but to use the very personnel that they already have on hand. So my support for this bill is that I see it every month when we have our monthly meetings. The cries of the mayors and the vice mayors, they need the heavy equipment. They want to make it work. They want to clean the villages. They're thankful to EPA for giving us the money to be able to continue the program. I know that Conchita is here. We'll be coming back to her again and asking her again for another release of funds, because we've used up the ones that, except for $8,000. But like I said, a lot of that money goes to heavy equipment. So if this bill does pass and EPA does give us some funds, $2 million to purchase this equipment, it will go a long ways towards helping all the 19 villages, not on a piecemeal basis, but at one time, be able to get rid of the junk that we do have on our island, without competing with Solid Waste Authority or any other entity out there.
Okay. Mayor Blas, did you?
So Angel, this appropriation is on top of the idea of converting that flood mitigation to equipment purchase?
Well,
But
we're working on
aren't they the same pieces of equipment would
well,
be
Mayor,
there?
Senator, we're working at different angles. We want to be able to find a way that because there are some senators that still feel that working on those projects that were funded by that $2 million should be the way to go instead of funding it for equipment. So we're just being proactive. We're just trying to figure out a way whether if we can't get it from that source, then we want to get it from this source.
So it's one or the other, not both.
Well, if
That
it-
we're going to be purchasing $5 million worth of equipment.
No, I do, what we met with the engineers, when they finally said, okay, everybody's top 5 list, they said it's impossible. Just Agate alone would cost $2 million just to fix the flooding in Agate, because it would be involving creations of, what do they call it, culverts, storm drains, and ponding basins, everything. So they said, if we take the $2 million and divide it amongst the mayors, you can go and see what you can do with this. We can basically buy coral and some blacktop for some areas. They said it won't solve the problem. They said if you refer back...
Well, no, because the entire problem is $70 million or $170 million.
So they said, really, the $2 million they said at the time, before this was, they said, we could buy the equipment, but it would be hard to put what we need to. We could, if you can get the equipment somewhere else, we could use that money to make some corrections, get proper channels in, get other heavy equipment, which would be excavators, use it to get some areas. And so they're hoping to use that on that side, and we could use this on a regular basis. And I was just mentioning to Angel, we've actually put in requests for heavy equipment in every budget since the Mayor's Council has been in existence. You saw that in the Capital Improvement Project. And this is an avenue that actually gets us. So you can see that it is something we've requested for every year. This is now the avenue is to really tie it in with what we can do for the environment. So that's kind of where it is. So really the $2 million from the flood mitigation, we're hoping to use that to get blacktop to surface some areas, raise some areas, use it for design and build for some of the areas that then we could use our heavy equipment to easily go in and get some things to, raise the road in some areas or clear some of the storm drains in some of the areas where it would have only cost a few. So we can actually solve a lot more problems with it.
And we understand how resourceful the mayors are and vice mayors. And as the author of the bill, this is the reason for the 120-day time to put the operational plan together. We want to try to book the $2 million, and Mayor Blas, you're absolutely right. This gives an opportunity for the legislature to review the plan to make sure there no duplication of efforts, as Speaker Peninen pointed out. Also make sure there's no double appropriations for the same thing, but also being mindful that the administration keeps taking the cash from the recycling revolving fund, and that cash is not always there, but the book balance is. And so this is the reason for this kind of phased-in implementation. And also part of this operational plan, the Mayor's Council can address your concerns about warranty of the equipment, what's Public Works' role, who is going to maintain the equipment, And so I fully agree with you on sections 2 and 3, because the idea is that you work with EPA, not have EPA supervise you or you supervise EPA, that it be a joint effort.
Well, that's what it was. I mean,
And those
that's
are
what I'm
excellent
trying to-
suggestions, yeah.
Right, and that was the concern that I had, was that if we have all the, the equipment, and then let's say it breaks down, right, warranty goes out, who's going to pay for that? The person, the next mayor that's going to use it, we make sure that it's included, so that if Barragata needs it, where I'm always needing a jet ski, or I'm needing all kinds of equipment just to get, to assist my community. More importantly, the flooding issues there are really bad. And up to this date, 105,000 that's going to be distributed to all the mayors is not enough to fix the flooding issues in my community. And I do concur with Robert and all my colleagues that we are the frontline leaders of this community, and trash is it's an issue everywhere.
Because of illegal dump sites.
Right, and I have some in Barragata Heights that you don't even see that are in the Chamorro Land Trust. So who's going to pick that up? It's going to be the mayor's office again. And we've been moving and trying to locate, even going to the trash to find out who owns these trash so we can have them cited. But apparently not. It's just more like broken chairs and plastics. So it just comes back to our colleagues, and us, that we have to, and we have a lot in our plate, and we love what we do, but you have to give us the resources also to do our jobs out there.
And this 120-day period that you guys are going to go through, assuming this bill would pass, would force the mayor's council to take a look at what kind of resources you have holistically. And so if you're looking at other, from the flood mitigation, you have the village fund that we talked about. You could use that for maintenance or gas or to support these heavy equipments, and then you will force the issue of what's Public Works' role and how Public Works should be more responsive to the mayors. And so I think, Mr. Speaker, that was the idea of having this 120-day. We just didn't want, I never wanted to be part of any legislative effort to be giving out blank checks. Yeah, if I'd introduced a bill that proposed to give a blank check, it'll be dead on arrival. It
Yeah.
won't,
And-
probably won't even make it out of committee, even if it's
And-
my committee.
What we can do is we can share with you we'll present you. We can share with you the plan, the flood mitigation plan. One of the ideas from Public Works was to buy a jet truck that shoots and clears the storm drains out using high velocity truck, and that's a $300,000 piece of equipment. The other things that they were going to do is purchase some of the side tree trimmers for the sides, which really prevent a lot of what you saw during the heavy rains. The trees started bowing down. And so those are some of the things they're saying, okay, if we can use that money from the flooding to help prevent what we're going to end up on the culverts and the storm drains and in the rivers, we can use that money there, use this to help the mayors where we can on our side. Everyone kind of gets in a happy plan that way. So we appreciate the 120.
And in the interest of full disclosure, you requested $2 million. We didn't want to say put a plan together and have you come back with $3 million, $4 million, $70 million, and then that'll present a dilemma for us too. And so we wanted to create these boundaries to which we're all going to have an understanding and to which we'll have to operate under. So we don't get a plan that's higher than what you originally requested for. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so to answer also, Mr. Speaker, opinions, no, we're not looking for $2 million here, $2 million there, and $2 million, so that you can combine it all and get. Ultimately, actually, I know that every mayor would love to have their own backhoe and dump truck, but having it in 3 regions is just as well, because they have already learned how to share resources and to help each other out. Give you an example of this recent typhoon Francisco. While I sat up there at the bunker at Civil Defense, every request that came in, it ultimately goes, check the mayor, check the mayor, check the mayor. I mean, when a call came in because of a fallen tree, check the mayor. A call came in because the road is impassable, check the mayor. And we don't have the equipment, and that's when it dawned on me that neither does Public Works. They have nothing, they just don't have the backhoe, they don't have the dump trucks to be available, because they always say, do any of the 19 mayors have any available dump truck that we can use now? Do any of the 19 mayors have any backhoe that we can use right now? Because Public Works, they have one and it's broken. So it is just, we just have to be proactive. Either we do it through the EPA funding, we do it through the flood mitigation funding, but, and even if the equipment goes to Public Works and they handle it, but it has to be purchased and we have to have it before we get a disaster in our hands. And this one is just to get rid of the trash. It's something, like I said, that we work with EPA along very well, but I've been, and I can give you records, much of the money that we use from EPA is to also give POs out for heavy equipment to be able to bring these to the recycling companies.
Can you just give that to us?
We will.
I mean, this is certainly out of my committee's jurisdiction or purview, but have you ever considered putting Public Works under the Mayor's Council? As something that I well,
But, and I just want to do, actually, we do have, some mayors already own heavy equipment, and I want to let you know what we're actually doing there. Some of them actually dig the graves for Tigwac and Veteran Cemetery. We get called sometimes, 2 days in advance, from parks saying, can you help us, Mr. Mayor? And we try to tag each other saying, who has it right now?
so there we put Parks and Recs under the Mayor's also.
So we go down there, but we do it because, you know, it's not going to take us long. It's our constituent, or we're going to help somebody from the people of Guam who can't afford that. So digging a veteran's grave, digging someone at Tigwac.
And you got the permit from Conchita, right?
Yeah, it's what Parks and Recs handles that, but they call us literally the day before saying, "Can you dig a grave?" And I'm like, "Sure, we'll find out who has it right now." And so that's kind of the work we do also on top of this. So this will also help us in saying, okay, so we're thinking of it's a northern, central, east, central, west, and one south, and then it'll just rotate it on that area there. Northern would just be between Jigo, Dededo, and Sumuning, and then the central east will be Barragata, Mangilao. Side, and then it'll be central, it'll be Asin, Sinahanya, Ganya.
Which is why we wanted, the bill calls for an operational plan to be adopted by resolution, because we don't want mayors to feel cheated when, if this thing goes through, that this is their scheduled week, and then yet someone decided to...
But the $2 million figure actually did come from Public Works, because that's what we were working with the flood mitigation, and this was what we were going to purchase with the flood mitigation, but they said this is not even enough to what it is, because they wanted to get the high-velocity jet truck, the tree trimmers, the tamper machines, the excavators, the graders, so...
Is Mayor Blas in your committee?
Yes.
Good.
But you know, I mean, I'm concerned about that because that high jet velocity, I don't see how that solves flooding. It solves flooding problems on the road, but it doesn't solve flooding problems in the villages because we don't have culverts, we don't have
There's
sidewalks.
5 villages that do have it.
We don't have, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the flooding on Limtiaco Street, that high jet velocity is not going to help us there at all.
Yeah.
This is where we need that high jet velocity, right in the smack in the village. That's where, next to the Cristobal and the Gumabons, if that culvert or that slab of concrete be repaired, and so that we can remove the silts, then we would solve that problem. Right now, that road is collapsing, and I've been putting barriers already, and it's getting smaller and smaller because it's costing so much money to fix that. $105,000 is not going to repair it. But if we get proper equipment and get them in, get the high velocity and jet it out and clean it and just move those those concrete slabs, then it'll be operational, and then we're not going to have that problem. And then behind on WhatsApp store, there's other drainage. There's 12 dry wells there. Those are full. We need to flush them, drain them first, then flush it so that it can run to its proper drainage. That's why the equipment that we're asking for is very vital to the communities, most especially mine. And I'm going to speak on behalf of my colleagues too, because they would share it. You know, they share that we need this, we need that. And I know Robert, you probably have the same problems I do, but we really need that high velocity equipment and vacuum truck too.
Yeah. The truck actually does both, and right now you'll notice it's flooding in Tumon. It's all because the silt is built up in all the storm drains. So Asan Maina, Sinahanya, parts of Agate, Barragata will all benefit from the vacuum, the high velocity truck, and that's something that they can use to clean out also the main roads area. A lot of the main roads were all where the flooding took place when it was impassable for the southern areas and everything. It's because of what's in there. And so they're saying we can get this clean on a regular basis, rotational basis, it'll help. And really also the people of Guam play a role in this when they throw their debris, throw whatever else they want, and they think the storm drains are the next way to get rid of trash. It's what clogs it. And when we go down there with shovels, it's sometimes like concrete. And So it's very hard. So I think that's why Public Works and their engineers are saying this will probably be the best purchase for that end, and then we could use this for our end for not just the EPA side. 90% EPA side, 10% of what we need to do, like the grave digging, all the other clearings, and earth moving to lay new coral, because that's the hard part. We can get coral delivered, we just can't spread it. So people still have impassable roads.
Okay. Senator Michelle? Okay, anything else?
I'd like
Okay.
to add something, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
if you don't
Conchita.
mind. Agnes, you forgot to mention when, after a storm, they say, check the mayor's council, check the mayor's council, check DPW. There's also check Guam EPA. And when we say, who said to check Guam EPA? Hey, the mayor's council said to check Guam EPA. So I have to add that, okay? And he knows, he's laughing because it's the truth. Guam EPA has always supported community-based environmental protection or environmental protection at the grassroots level. I've noticed over the years that the Mayor's Council has been rather aggressive in waste diversion, recycling, and beneficial use. We support this 100%. And with that said, Guam EPA will be hosting its first Sustainable Materials Management Workshop and Conference. We took a survey on what types of training is desired. We sent the survey out to the Mayor's Council. The response was excellent. And come March, the end of March, we will be bringing certified training from the U.S. This is certification that is recognized nationally. And it will be in 3 areas. One is on integrated waste management, the second one is on recycling, and the third is on composting. The workshop, the conference side of this event has 3 tracks. One is on zero waste. There will be a full discussion, 2 days, full discussion on the zero waste initiative that's coming out of the Office of the Governor. The second track is on integrated capacity building. The third one is on, there'll be speakers coming in to discuss community-based environmental or traditional-based environmental protection. So we're looking at speakers not only from Guam, but from off island, from the rest of the Pacific to potentially Native Americans. So, we support the Mayor's Council in their efforts in reducing the amount of waste going into the landfill. We've been partners over the years, and we will maintain that partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, if I can just ask EPA, if you can do a chemical collection, the Hasselguam, please. All of us, I get that call all the time, the chemical collection, and if you can please put that in implementation.
And actually, Robert, I know you think it's funny, but we gave EPA the funding from the surcharge of commercial insurance, and specifically in the budget, you're supposed to run Hasselguam at least twice a year, and that's funded in the budget from that surcharge of 2% on commercial insurance, and that funding is given to EPA. And I was going to write to you to remind you of that, because once again we did it, but I haven't seen the program and the announcement by EPA. I think the last one may have been a year ago, 6 months ago, but I know you've had, but that is part of the requirement of that funding, because it never used to go to EPA before. It wasn't going to EPA, and we made that change in the budget where that fund is dedicated for that purpose. So I would ask EPA to look at that, because the money's there, because that's a separate and special fund, not part of the general fund.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, and with that said, the whole concept of Hasselguam and household hazardous collection still falls under the purview of the receivership. So we will be working with the receiver and the Guam Solid Waste Authority on this matter. So no,
I don't think it does, because that's what that money's for. Unless you don't want the money, if you're telling me it's going to be part of the receiver, then I'll give the money to the receiver to run the program.
Understood.
I'll just take it away we'll just take it away from EPA. There's no use of having that money sit there when part of that appropriation was the fact that Hasselguam will be an ongoing program and a sustainable program with sustainable funding.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. There's nothing further. We look forward to EPA submitting your testimony, and the record will be open all the way up until the time the bill is reported to the full legislature. And so if that, I say thank you for your presentation, your support for the bill. We'll work closely together, and tighten this thing up, and we'll stand in recess so we can prepare the room to hear from our farmers. So mayors, you might want to stay back for the next, we're in recess.
We heard from them.